Tuesday on this programme means we enjoy the company of one or of two of our digital prophets, and a specialist Professor Kevin Curran is here from the University of Ulster. Kevin, good to see you.
Good afternoon.
Right, I like this because I was away overseas recently and we got lost everywhere, right? So it's this thing about, so you put in the thing and it's like 250 yards left, 250 yards, right? But it's going to be going, get the Brady's chippy and then go take a right there and then go to Mickey's electric shop and that kind of thing. So what's the key change in this one?
Yeah, Google Maps is one of the most used apps, with Android, even iOS, to navigate from A to B. But rather than what we're used to for many years now is at the roundabout, in 500 yards at the roundabout, turn left. It'll be able to say, because it's also generated 250 million Street View places through the Street View feature of Google Maps. It'll be able to say, in 200 yards at the Odeon Cinema, turn left. In 300 yards at B&Q, turn right. In other words, rather than it'll use landmarks because it already has all the streets camera, in the world, literally. The whole world is mapped by Google Street View cars. I've appeared twice on Google Maps, 3 times on Google Maps myself.
Yeah, but they try to blur people out. In a way, Kevin, they've already known this because you're on the Google Maps going, right, I'm listening to what he or she's saying on the thing, but you can see all these places, all the burger shops and the factories and all the rest. But you get it. Look, as a driver or somebody who's been sitting beside drivers doing this, you get it wrong loads. Do you think this will alleviate?
You do. Sometimes it's very hard to tell. Is it the street on the left here or is it the street 10 yards further? Because the map sometimes takes a while to update. But if you're given a definitive turn right at the Bank of Ireland, then you'll just know, if the sign's visible. But it just is an improvement, and they are adding a lot of other features in Google Maps as well, because they're integrating the Gemini AI into it. So now you can say, look are there any restaurants on my way which you recommend, which have good parking? And you can also even, while in the Maps app, you can also say, could you add my 5 p.m. to the calendar or whatever else? So it's becoming more conversational. As reason.
I always find the real life traffic, I don't think enough people use it, but the real life traffic on Google Maps, I'm sitting here looking at the city, coming in from Clooney Road, if I'm right, Kevin, right the way back out past the City Dairy Rugby Club coming in, there's a gridlock there, and there's a gridlock at the Colin, which is the daily gridlock at the Colin, which is just predictable. But it's amazing that I'm getting that information now from cell phones in those cars, the thousands of them who are sending information to Google Maps, that I can say, oh, don't be going there because that road's blocked. I still can't get my head around that.
Yeah, no, it's real time, yeah.
Limavady Valley Road's clear. Yo.
There was an experiment done by an artist a few years ago where he took a wheelbarrow and he put 100, 200 phones into it, all turned on, and he went up and down the street and the whole street emptied because everyone was being rerouted by Google Maps.
Because it looked like it was.
It looked like there were 200 cars stuck in a traffic jam.
God, all right then. Right, checked luggage. I had to check this one recently as well. I hadn't flown an awful lot since COVID, but I went down for a bit of heat, Kevin, and I didn't know what I was allowed, toothpaste or whatever. Yeah. But with gadgetry, I don't know. Given that we're so dependent on the gadgetry in that damn plane, why they let you switch on anything, and everybody's sitting with a gadget. So what's new here?
Well, here is something you might not have thought about. You're not allowed to put Apple Airpods or any of it could be other makers as well, Sony, anything which is wireless battery, Bluetooth headphones.
But everybody's sitting with them.
Oh yes, in the cabin, but not in the hold luggage. If you have your big large bag, you're not allowed to put even the small little earbuds into there. Also, you're not allowed to have spare power banks put into the hold. The power banks for charging your phone,
like an extra battery.
People use all fine in the cabin. You would only get into trouble maybe. Of course, there's larger batteries, like if you're a drone or you're a camera operator and all them. But generally, you have to have all that in the cabin, because if we have what we call thermal runway, where a battery goes on fire, at least in the cabin we have a chance of putting it out. You don't want that happening in the hold.
But if you put it in the hold, how will they know? Did they X-ray the hold?
I mean, of course, the hold has smoke detectors. It has, they're, in reality, none of our batteries are going to bring down a modern airline. But the fact is, they don't want any burns or any luggage insurance claims.
Lord, I'm still sitting up there thinking I'm sitting here in the middle tube, defying gravity, and it shouldn't work, but it does work. Anyway, the Louvre and passwords. Have you found the dumbest password in history, Kevin? Or people are lazy with passwords, are they not?
Well, they are, and the Louvre proved that. But with the CCTV camera, the default password was Louvre.
It wasn't. It was in the Louvre.
Yes, it was the day after. There was a lot of jokes online about that again. So, no one put any effort in there. That was probably a technician setting it up, presuming someone would come along and put a more default. But there's been a release again of the most common passwords of 2025, and top of the list is 12345. And I was with someone's phone yesterday, and their PIN was 1234, and admin and password and 111, all the way down to, well, whatever.
Welcome, Minecraft, all that. People, but then. Listen, right, what about the Danes? The Australians, you told us earlier this year about the Australians sort of curbing young ones when it comes to social media and the stresses of social media and exposure. What about Denmark, Kevin?
Yeah, Denmark is one of the first EU countries to ban social media for children under the age of 15. So they will, however, allow parents to give access to children age 13 and over for certain platforms. But again, they're rolling back and they're trying to ban social media for anyone under 15.
What would you, if you'd had say you were Danish and you were having to have that conversation with your lads. Your lads are very tech savvy lads, aren't they?
Yeah.
Would you have won the conversation?
I wouldn't. It's hard. There are benefits for sure. There are total benefits where it will encourage them to maybe to do more sport, more interaction with each other, because teens by default, and again the shyness, they will go into the phones. There's a thing that that this generation, if I tell them that my partner has passed away, they won't have the correct facial expression, but they will have the correct emoji.
I get you. And who feels an emoji? Nobody.
Yeah, because they need more social face-to-face. Of course, they will be, a lot of them will be isolated from the peers. If you live in the country, they will really miss them. You can also a lot of educational help online. Again, it's on social media, whatever else. But there are pros and cons. I think I would fail on the pros of banning it when they're younger, because at the end of the day, try and get as much of real life into them rather than just being stuck in the virtual world.
But I think when the study comes through brains like yours, which you've given to science and mine, right? I think, and it's only a hunch, what do I know? But I think the exposure of us as the pioneering generation, Kevin, and having been pickled since we were in our 20s by social media, is going to be shown to be hugely detrimental. Do you feel that? 4, 5, 6 generations time, I think will be, I don't know, savvier, smarter. Don't know.
I don't know. The jury's out, because not everything is a cesspool on there. You are seeing the one thing about social media, which I would have welcomed, is definitely teenagers have the fear of missing out. They will see, again, everyone on social media only post when they're looking good or in a good place, or it shows that they can travel. And none of us posts our worst nights, our worst days, our worst photos, our breakups, or we never do. We always put our best foot
forward. But that's
forward.
the sheep argument. Surely it's better to have the conversation which makes other kids go, no, I don't need to be part of those sheep. I can think for myself. I don't need that.
Fine, and of course they are intelligent and well-rounded and from good families, kids who do that, but the majority don't. They're still teenagers. Their brain's not fully developed till 23, and they will. So in other words, if anything, by not being on social media, of course, they're a little bit exempt from feeling jealous. And there will be kids out there who come from really awful backgrounds, and they're looking at their classmates, and there they are skiing, and they're two parents, and they're whatever, the perfect life. And that you have to be a rock to not have jealous thoughts and envy and feel lousy about your life.
Gotcha. Kevin, finally coming up to the C word. We try not to mention it till December. Look, Martin Lewis, your man, and the whole thing about electricity and all the rest. I think about, since I got solar panels, I think about it all the time, because I deal in like 5 and 10 watts, like Stone Age stuff.
Yeah.
But I notice everything. I notice if I leave the fridge door open, it costs me electric, and it costs my solar panels effort. But he's talking about the Christmas lights.
Yeah.
Now, I feel this way about fireworks. I think the older I get, I don't want to be a killjoy. Yeah. But I think he's right here. What's he saying about Christmas lights?
Well, basically, LED lights is 1p per 12 hours. So half a day, 1p.
Right.
Per 100 bulbs.
But boys have thousands.
That's fine, but again, so that's 1p per 12 hours. So, for instance, if you had 1,000 bulbs set operating for 8 hours daily over the month, it's still under £1. But if you did the incandescent, the old-fashioned ones, which were before 2016, over the month it'd be about £6.78. But it's 7 times cheaper to do the LEDs, and you save. Definitely with bulbs, even though when they first came out, we all kind of thought, they don't have the same light. No. You can save up to, generally, if you have about 3 hours a day and you had 12 bulbs in your house, and they were the old-fashioned ones, not the LEDs now. You can save about 300 quid a year by having the LEDs.
I can vouch for that, but LEDs, people will be saying with Martin Lewis, those cheap happiness, a pound for a month of LEDs and the house festooned like a fairy tale palace. It's cheap happiness.
It's totally, a lot of things are very cheap. Even charging your phones is negligible. Your laptop, they don't cost much over a year. They really don't, compared to all the other expenses we have. But
trust me, it's your fridge and it's your washing machine.
It's your tumble dryer is the biggest expense.
Your fridge freezer. Believe me, I know it. I'm watching it like a television. I should have brought it down today. Kevin, thank you for that. We'll be hearing more from Professor Curran in the run up to Christmas, and indeed we're starting to make plans for our Christmas schedule as well. Great to have the thoughts of Professor Kevin Curran from the Ulster University at Magee. Back in 10 minutes, folks, to talk about the DNA Museum, the big museum build happening as we speak, and the Trinidad Valancera cannon, which are being outed from the Tower Museum to get all dolled up to be brought back to the waterside in good time. Plenty to talk about, and your reaction to the proposed Sainsbury's for the Crescent link. Back in 10 minutes, it's 1 o'clock.
On BBC Sounds, your radio, TV and smart speaker, this is The Northwest at 1 on BBC Radio Foyle.